This is an R Media podcast. Marie Claire presents You're Gonna Want to Hear This.
I've been writing for 50 friggin' years. Started at 17, I'm now 67, or 6'7", as I'd rather say. The world is being run by these steroid-addled, testosterone-riddled, old, pale, male, stale blokes. And they don't have to worry about the future. The next big battle for women is ageist sexism. Some writers say, where do you get your inspiration? They go, oh, the muse descends from the heavens. I'm like, no, revenge.
Welcome back to You're Going to Want to Hear This. I'm Georgie McCourt, editor of Marie Claire. Now, today's guest is one of Australia's most fearless, funniest and most enduring voices. She's a woman who has spent decades holding up a mirror to the absurdities of sexism, relationships and modern womanhood, and doing it all with razor-sharp wit. From her very first book, Puberty Blues, which scandalised a nation and sparked conversations that still resonate today, to more than 20 best-selling novels, Kathy Lette has built a career out of saying the things that women are often told not to say out loud. But behind all the humour is something deeper, and that is a lifelong commitment to championing women, to interrogating power, pleasure, friendship, and the complicated, often contradictory reality of being female. In her latest book, The Sisterhood Rules, she turns her attention to one of the most intimate and sometimes confronting aspects of women's lives: female friendship, loyalty, and betrayal. Because while the sisterhood can be powerful and at times life-saving, it can also be where we hurt the most. In this conversation, we talk about everything from the girl she was at 16, to finding her voice, to why she believes women don't truly come into themselves until after menopause. We get into the pleasure gap, the politics of aging. We talk about the myth of perfect marriages. This is a conversation that is as funny as it is honest. Let's meet the fabulous Kathy Lette. Kathy Lette, welcome.
So excited to be here.
Well, I am so excited. I think everyone on the team was quite jealous. They're like, Kathy's in the office and you get to interview her.
Oh, the mouth from the south. Will she stop talking? That's the point. Yeah.
Well, you know, we're such huge fans of you.
Thank you.
Now,
Ditto, by the way, ditto.
I always like to go back to the beginning.
Yeah.
And I was saying to my features editor today, I was like, did you know Kathy left school at 16?
I did.
I didn't know that about you.
I always joke that the only examination I've ever passed is my cervical smear test, the one you do want to pass.
You do. You definitely want to pass that. That's good.
That's good. But that's true. I mean, I'm an autodidact, which means self-taught. It's clearly a word I taught myself. Ha, ha, ha. Yeah. And my mother was appalled because she's headmistress. And when I told her I was leaving school to write novels and things, and actually I said to her, Mum, I'm writing this novel. It's very racy. It's set on the beaches of Cronulla and it's a lot in the back of panel vans. And I was like, do you want me to use a nom de plume? And I had a really good one. I was going to call myself Pseudonym.
That's
Excellent.
good.
I remember her saying, oh, don't worry, darling. I don't think anyone's ever going to publish that novel. And, of course, then Puberty Blues came out and was this massive hit. And
What year was that?
So scandalous, 1979.
79, wow.
And it was so scandalous. I think she came to regret that decision, you know.
I love, the fact that you did leave school at 16. You're obviously strong-minded. You knew what you wanted to do.
Yeah.
What kind of kid were you?
Well, also I thought school was so boring. I couldn't believe they spent sort of the first 5 years teaching you to talk and the next 15 years or whatever teaching you to shut up. So I was just rebellious and wild, and it wasn't a great school. It was Sylvania Heights Maximum Security High School. And also, you know, by that stage I was a surfy girl. I was kind of hungry for adventures. I wanted to be a writer. So yeah, I just abandoned school. But I've got 3 honorary doctorates now. So I think my mother finally has forgiven me because I've got these 3 honorary doctorates.
It's okay.
But the one I want, there's a fantastic one called A Companion of Literature. And guess what they abbreviate that to? C.Lit.
Really?
Now that would rub me up the right way. So if anyone's listening, I want a clit, okay? Another one.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Another one. You'd like 2, wouldn't that be
I'd
lovely?
like 2. Wouldn't that be lovely?
I know.
If God was a woman.
We would have 2 or more.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
I also think school,
Yeah, where'd you go to school?
I went to school in Marunga, a very strict girls' school where we had to wear green undies to match our green uniform. We got in trouble if we didn't.
Someone checked?
Well, that was the rumour that which is probably not that funny. I don't actually think it happened, but it did get checked. But by the male sports teacher. I really hope it didn't.
It could have been the case.
It could have been the case.
I mean, we're living in a patriarchal, sexist society, so they got away with a lot more back then.
It could have been the case. But I found the style of English and the style of writing so rigid. It was so strict and boring, whereas I love writing in a conversational, chatty way, like I'm speaking to a girlfriend. And so I never thought at school that I could be a writer because the style of writing that I was taught, and I was taught that was the only style of writing, it was so strict and rigid. So I love that you left and pursued your style of writing.
Yeah. Well, if I have any gift as a writer at all, it's putting into words what women might be thinking but not necessarily saying out loud, but also writing down the way women talk when there's no men around, because women together are funny. I mean, you have to be hospitalised from hilarity on a girls' night out. And it's not just me imagining that. Anthropologists say that women in all cultures on the planet laugh more often than men, especially in all female groups. And you know what we're laughing about? Blokes, of course, So we do find the funny. I think it's a survival mechanism. If you can laughing is something that allows you to strap a giant shock absorber to your brain. It takes the sting out of it. And as women are the underdogs, in this world, I think it's for us, it's a survival mechanism. Yeah.
Well, it feels good.
It does feel good.
It feels so good. And I mean, you have spent a lot of your career skewering sexism with humour. So,
thank you.
Do you think that humour is how women push back?
Well, also women are more verbally dexterous than men. Men are stronger physically, obviously, but women use on average 400 more words in our daily vocabulary. I call it the black belt in tongue fu. And if you can give a man quiplash, if someone's bullying you in public, a bloke, and you can take him down with a lethal one-liner and make other people laugh at him, you've taken away all of his power. So it's a skill that women should develop. We should work on our quiplash. I always say to young women when they go out at night, you're underdressed unless you've got a couple of great one-liners tucked up your trouser leg, because it is part of our armoury. You can persuade more people to your point of view by charming them. So I like to disarm with charm. And especially blokes. Like I'm on book tour now, and sometimes one of my readers will say, I was reading your book in bed, and my husband's like, oh, what are you reading a book by, that loudmouth, broad for feminist broad? And then she'll laugh at something. He'll say, well, go on, read it to me. Go on. And she'll read a bit and he'll go, ugh, not funny. Read me another bit. And then eventually he'll disappear into the toilet with the book, because some men think sitting on the toilet's a leisure activity. And I think, isn't that great if I can convert someone who's not on our team? That's even a greater sign of success. So
it really is. And I want to talk about your fabulous new books, The Sisterhood Rules.
Oh, thank you. Number 21. I've been writing. This is my 21st
Number
book.
21. I mean,
I know. I've been writing for 50 friggin' years. Started at 17. I'm now 67, or 6'7", as I'd rather say.
You are
so
a great
fashionable.
age.
I know. So, yeah, it's my 21st novel. I've cannibalised my entire life up until this point. And I do think this time of a woman's life is the most interesting. Women at my age have such a huge hinterland. They've had the divorces, the breakups, they've raised the kids, they've looked after their aged parents, they've had the promotions, the backstabs, all the amazing things women achieve on a daily basis. And they've got so much to share. And just at that moment, society tells you you've passed your amuse-by date, and they put you out to career pasture. And this happened to me. I don't know if I told you this. When I wanted to write the book before this, The Revenge Club, I went to my publisher and my agent in London and said, I want to write a book about 4 women who take revenge on the men who've sabotaged their careers. And my publisher's like, yeah, nah. No one wants to read about middle-aged women. They're just not sexy. And then another publisher.
That was actually said to you.
Another publisher said to me, middle-aged women are like Sudan and Mogadishu. We know they exist, but nobody wants to go there. And just for a second, I did lose my mojo. Just for a second, I thought, oh, well, gosh, maybe that's it. Maybe it's over. And then I thought, nah, I'm an Aussie girl. We don't go quietly. And I looked at books about women my age, like books by someone like Anita Bruckner. And the women were kind of lonely and sad, living in little grey flats, and then they'd die and get eaten by their cats. And I looked around and thought, I don't know any women like that. All my women friends are swinging off a chandelier with a toy boy between their teeth. I mean, think about your own mum. And think all the people listening, all the women listening, think about how fabulous your mother is. Don't you want her wit and her wisdom? So I just ignored them, got a new publisher, new agent, wrote the book, and the book went to #1, best revenge ever. And I think women are really drawn to revenge because it's sweet but totally non-fattening. So that was great. Don't let any man ever try and put you in the corner. Just follow your instincts and do what's right for you.
There is, though, that narrative that, I got divorced 2 years ago, a year ago, I can't remember. But it was like, oh, are you okay? And it's like you're this divorcee, this sad, lonely divorcee. I said, oh, I'm thrilled. I love just being by myself. This is wonderful. But there is that narrative about women, whereas men, when they get divorced, they don't experience that.
No, I know. Well, congratulations on your husbandectomy.
Thank you.
Very happy about that for you.
I even went on a divorce moon.
Oh, did you?
To Zanzibar by myself, surrounded by couples, and I've never been happier.
Oh.
It's wonderful.
Have you written about that? That's a great story.
I did a quick story about the divorce moon, but at the time I didn't, when you're still sort of, I will
Fresh.
in time write more about it.
They also make a great movie. Well, I don't see divorce as a failure. I just see it as a change, and change is good. And let's face it, marriages last so long. Now with all this longevity we have, from honeymoon to tomb can be 60, 70, 80 years. That's a long time to find someone's anecdotes interesting and vice versa.
Because this is what happens in marriage. Your partner repeats. Like when you first meet them, the stories are really funny and you laugh along. And then what I started doing was I would just do the punchline too early because I'm like, I have heard this story 100 times. I can't listen to these stories anymore.
I know. Oh, that's so true. Look, if you do meet love of your life and you keep reinventing yourselves and you can find that the love stays fresh forever, well, you've won life's lottery. But otherwise, don't be afraid about moving on, Change is good.
But you've got very amicable relationships with both your ex-partners, which is wonderful. And that's also that's the dream, I think, when it comes to divorce. Why do you think you have such amicable relationships with both of them?
I think you've got to remember that there was something about that person you loved, and that is still there. And once the financial dust has settled and the emotional chaos has calmed, you can find that in that other person. And especially if you've got children, I think it's important to make a friendship if you can. I mean, it doesn't always work.
But it is. I think
give it a shot,
Not enough people, and no judgment. I know divorce is so messy and hard, but the kids, it's all about the kids.
It's all about the kids. Well, with my first husband, Kim Williams, when I left Kim for Jeffrey Robertson, I sent my best girlfriend round to cheer Kim up, and she cheered him up so much she married him. So now when I stay with them, it's like a Woody Allen film. We all get in bed in the morning, read the papers, laughing, chatting. It's great. It's fabulous. And Jeffrey, of course, I'm still great friends with Jeffrey. Although being married to a human rights lawyer was really hard because you could never get the high moral ground. So when I used to say to Jeff, can you come in here and change this nappy? He'd be like, well, I'd like to, but I have 350 people on death row in Trinidad. What could I say? Although
I'll do the nappy then.
No. After a year, I started saying, "Oh, let them die." And after the second baby, I was like, "I'm going to go there and kill them myself." Human rights begins at home, and that the chore wars is one of the big reasons why marriages break up. Because even though we make up 50% of the workforce, I'd still say we're doing, what do you reckon, 99.9% of all the housework and childcare?
Yeah, if not 100%.
If not 100%,
it is. The chores, they destroy marriages.
Yeah.
Simply because it's exhausting doing it all yourself.
And it's so simple. I mean, just sometimes men say to me, "Oh, you feminists want too much." I'm like, "Do we? Equal pay? That'd be nice."
But if men want more sex, literally vacuum the house. It's so simple.
Oh my God. The greatest aphrodisiac in the world, a man in a cooking apron. The way to a woman's heart is through her stomach, not aiming too high. And when men say to me, what do you women really want in bed? I'm like, breakfast and a really good book. Great. But also, it's in men's interest to help around the house because it's scientifically proven that no woman ever shot her husband while he was vacuuming. So come on. And I don't think that's asking for a lot. We'd like them to work out that Mutual Orgasm's not an insurance company. That'd be nice too. So just do a bit of homework and also we know that marriage suits men much more than women. Have you read all these statistics?
It's so interesting.
Isn't
And
it?
apparently a woman, if you're single and you garden, there's some statistic that you're going to live longer.
Oh, wow.
Or you're happier.
Oh, well,
I love that.
Well, I only sow wild oats, but yes, married men live longer than single men, have less heart disease and mental problems, but single women live longer than married women, have less heart disease and mental problems. And marriage statistics are quite low in Australia. They're kind of lower than Kim Kardashian's bikini line, which is quite low. And I think it's women who are getting PMT, pre-monogamy tension, because the hideous habit ratio is about 100 to 1 in the man's favour. Playing air guitar, fiddling with the fridge thermostat just for fun. I mean, yeah, and there's a lot we have to put up with.
There is a lot. I also think, and you write about this in the Sisterhood Rules, obviously it's about two sisters, but female friendships. And that, for me, it's so enriching. So if you're single, like to have friendships.
Yeah.
It's like it's everything.
Well, one of the rules in the Sisterhood Rules, and the title's a pun. It's the Sisterhood Rules, but it's also the Sisterhood Rules. Like, how great to have the sisterhood. But the main rule is that husbands and boyfriends come and go, but girlfriends are forever. So never let a penis come between us. That is the main rule in the Femifesto, I think. The joy of the sisterhood. I've always said that women are each other's human wonder bras, uplifting, supportive, making each other look bigger and better. And when I do talks, I say to women, look, I'm wearing a wonder bra now, and it's so cool because when I take it off, I wonder where the hell my tits went. So never wonder where your girlfriends have gone. Let your cups runneth over with love for each other, because that's what will sustain you for your whole life. My mother is still friends with girls she sat with on the kindergarten mat.
That's very special.
Isn't that special? And, one of the other rules in the book, I say, be the wind beneath her bingo wings. Like on the underwear theme, think of those big cotton knickers, be like a big pair of pants. You've got her ass covered. And you can really, if you don't, I have 3 sensational sisters, but if you're not lucky enough to have biological sisters, you can lean into the sisterhood. It is powerful. And we must remember that it's powerful politically too. Look at the Me Too movement. I mean, that started with one tweet. And it brought down Harvey Weinstein. Mind you, Epstein, there's only one person in prison, and that's a woman.
I heard you say that recently, and I'd never actually thought about it. I'd never thought that, and, she's obviously extremely guilty and deserves to be where she is. That's not in question. But it's so interesting. One woman.
Yeah. Why aren't the men being held to account? It is so scandalous. That no wonder women lose heart. I just think women should rule the world. We should say to the men, take a year off, go play golf, go and train spot or plane spot or whatever you do. Just let us have a go. We can't do a worse job.
Imagine if Michelle Obama was in power now.
Oh, the joy.
I mean, the world would be a different place.
Yeah. Well, they say that war is men's menstruation envy. That was an old feminist catch cry in the 70s. And, of course, the world is being run by these steroid-addled, testosterone-riddled, old, pale, male, stale blokes. And they don't have to worry about the future. It's ridiculous. So, yeah, let young people take over, especially young women, in my view. Yeah.
Coming up next, you're going to hear about the moment Kathy found her voice, the power of female friendship, plus we're going to get into the pleasure gap and why equality still hasn't quite made it into the bedroom. Stay with us. Female betrayal. It is a theme that runs through the Sisterhood Rules, and it's so interesting because it is the greatest heartbreak. Why did you want to explore female betrayal?
Well, in all 21 of my books, I've always championed women because, as you said earlier, it's still a man's world. 100 years since Emily Pankhurst tied herself to the railings, we still don't have equal pay. As you mentioned, we're getting concussion hitting our head on the glass ceiling. We're supposed to clean it while we're up there. We face a second glass ceiling at home with a domestic burden. But I have to admit that there are some women who need to go to the vets to get their claws done. Pam Bondi, anyone? Caroline Levitt? And I thought it'd be interesting to explore what happens when the sisterhood goes sour, and to see if I could find a way that these two sisters could reconcile. I mean, one has an affair with the other one's husband. Could there be a greater betrayal? Which happened to Helen Garner, by the way, one of Australia's best writers, yeah. And on the road while I'm on book tour, I would say 3 women have come and told me that something like that happened to them. the ultimate betrayal.
It is. I mean, there's Love Actually. There's that scene. It's brothers in this case.
That's
remember?
right. I've
One of the
forgotten
opening
about that.
scenes.
Yes.
And he walks in. Colin Firth's brother is sleeping with his girlfriend, and that's brothers. But it is the
Sisterhood.
ultimate
I know.
betrayal.
But I think the world is we're so lacking in unity and harmony right now. I wanted to write a book about two sisters who were deeply, profoundly estranged, and their mother goes missing, which is when they have to come back together to try and find her. And I thought, I just want to write a book encouraging women to build bridges, either if they have fallen out with a sister or even with a parent, or fallen out with a girlfriend, which can be as painful as divorce. Try and find a way back. We need to all build little bridges and get some more harmony and unity in this deranged world we're in right now. And some of the books set in Northern Ireland, and I did that on purpose too, because I thought if the Catholics and the Protestants can find a way back to each other, then all of us can make an effort, you know. So yeah, it was fun. It was fun to explore and write it. And I got to write a lot of bitchy dialogue for both the female characters, which I loved writing, of course. So yeah, it was good. But I do think that women are, one of my mottos is that laugh and the world laughs with you, cry and you get salt in your champers. We are very, very resilient, and we are great survivors. And I think that comes from being right from the beginning of being the butt of God's biological joke. I mean, you think of all the things women go through, from when you first get taken hostage by your hormones once a month till then.
I love that description because it is so true.
Isn't it?
It is so true.
Oh my God. And then you've got pregnancy where you swell to sumo wrestler proportions.
My little 12-year-old daughter 13, sorry, she's got a period, and she came into the kitchen the other night. She said, Mum, why do we have to have the babies?
I know.
She's 13.
And
she's already worked this out.
And how many more periods has she got, the poor girl? And then there's childbirth where you stretch your vagina the customary 5-6 kilometres. Then there's mastitis. And then just when everything goes quiet, at my age, you grow a beard. So thank you. I always say to women, I could make a macrame hanging basket arrangement. What's going on here? Why? I'm having my own weather. But to be positive, I know, Marie Claire, our readership is younger, but you do have a lot to look forward to. You hear all this negative stuff about the menopause. Post-menopause is the best time of a woman's life.
That's when you say women come into their own, and I've never heard that before, and I love it so much.
It's so true, because when women are brought up to be decorative and demure, all the research shows that when a man and woman start talking at the same time, the woman always pulls back. And I've done that in my own life. Not now, but I did. But after 50, you get a kind of, oh, feck it, I'm 50 gene kicks in. And you no longer care what people think about you. And it is so liberating, you know. And look at the positive side, the biologically positive side. No period cramps, no pregnancy scares. You've got all that tampon money to spend. Woohoo!
Well, you're free.
You're free.
Yeah.
And it's odd in some ways, because you're sort of no longer in the male gaze, which is really liberating, but also kind of infuriating, because I think women hit their sexual prime in their 60s, or their sexties, as I'd rather say.
I love that.
Because good sex is about being relaxed in your skin. And by this age, you know who you are, you know what you want, and you're not afraid to ask for it. And I think orgasms get longer and stronger because women are relaxed.
We need to share this message more, because I still remember with my marriage counsellor when I was in my 30s, I was about 34, I had 2 young babies, and she was in her 50s, and she said, can I just be quite candid with you? I'm in my 50s and I'm having the best sex of my life. And I sat there at 34 or 5 going, how? Like,
right?
Surely, like, that's not possible. And I understand, I mean, I'm now 44, but I understand what she was saying. And it's so exciting.
Well, I don't think women give up sex when they get old. I think they get old when they give up sex. So, you know, one of my mottos, what do I say? Don't put off till tomorrow anybody you could be doing today. And I think the other wonderful thing about this time in your life, post-menopause, is that you've cut the psychological umbilical cord that kept you tethered to the kitchen by your heart and your apron strings. I mean, your kids, how many kids do you have?
I've got 2. They're nearly 12 and 13.
Yeah, you're right in the thick of it. You're just about to get the hormones.
Very much parenting, yes.
Yeah. But once they leave home, out the door by 24, you've got this window of time where you can put yourself first for the first time in your life and not feel guilty about it. So, I always say to women, like, carpe the hell out of diem. Carpe diem like there's no tomorrow. Adventure before dementia. Not that I'm making light of that terrible disease, but you never know what's around the corner. So you just have to seize the day. Just say yes to everything. Yes, yes, yes. And so there's just so much to look forward to. And you have more time. You've got more leisure time. You've got, hopefully some savings. And the chief time for divorce, I don't know if you've read all this, but the majority of divorces in Australia are now initiated by women.
They are.
Have you written about this?
We have.
Yeah.
Yes, they are.
And the peak time, 2 times, is when the last child finishes school and when the husband retires. Because now we've got the rocket fuel of HRT. Right, women retire or, as they get older, they want to climb Everest and go down the Amazon because our estrogens drop down and our testosterones come up. But for men, of course, the opposite happens. Their testosterone drops, their estrogen comes up. They want to stay at home and nest. Women are like, I have nested.
For
I've
years,
buttered
decades.
4,000 acres of toast. I've roasted 4 million flocks of chicken or, herds of beef. I just want to go and dance on a tabletop. So I think unless men pull up their psychological socks, they will find themselves getting left behind. But I would also say that's not the case with everyone. I do have some other women friends who are being traded in by their husbands for younger models. And then I get really sad for them because they're suddenly doing everything they can to stay young, no matter how painful. And they're resorting to the cosmetic surgeon's knife, which I would advise women not to do that. Dimmer switch, greatest beauty aid known to womankind. But also, why would you want a man who only wants you because you're silicone from tonsils to toenail? I mean, you wouldn't want a man like that anyway.
But it's so true. It's like it's more going back inside yourself and looking at the kind of man that you want to be with.
Yeah.
Because someone kind is not
Kind.
Kindness.
Oh, it's the ultimate, yeah.
I'm with a partner now. He is the
I was
kindest.
going to ask you about that.
Yeah, Jen and I were sharing at International Women's Day boy stories, but he's so kind. And it's it's the most beautiful,
thing
in the world.
Well, is he a beta male? Because I've been married to 2 alphas whom I love, but now I've got a beta male.
What's a beta male?
Well, alpha, a macho guy's going to stride out in the world. A
Yes.
beta is a nurturing, caring and sharing kind of guy. It's called a beta, B-E-T-A.
That's exactly. See, I only knew alpha. Isn't that terrible?
Right. And I say, when I give talks in schools to girls, I say to them, if you're going to be an alpha career woman, choose your partner carefully. Because if you choose another alpha, if the child is sick, guess who'll be staying home to look after that child? It won't be him. But if you have a beta male will adore you, not bore you, and do all your chores for you. They put you on a pedestal, then they polish it. It's fabulous. I highly, highly recommend it.
They're beautiful. I think it's the secret to
beautiful
happiness.
Kindness, yeah.
On happiness, I think a lot about success. You are unbelievably successful. You've had this extraordinary career. How does success play into happiness for you? Because you've sold millions of books. Like, I can't imagine what that feels like. How does it feel? And does your success equal happiness, or what makes you happy?
My happiest thing is being with my girlfriends and my sisters. And I party hard. Look at I've lost my voice today. Apparently, the cure for the lost voice is the sperm gargle. But I'm like, could I stop talking for long enough to do that?
I've never heard that.
Apparently. I think better things to do with my lips. But anyway, so I do party hard. I have a lot of friends and a lot of girlfriends. And we, like Jen Robinson, my daughter Georgie.
I love that your daughter is Georgina.
I know, great name, right?
Great name, Kathy.
Julia Gillard parties with us in London. We dance to ABBA till dawn. We always find the way to have fun. We give good hedonism. And it's really important to do that. It's much cheaper than a nervous breakdown. It's much cheaper than even a divorce. If you can go out with your girlfriends and let off steam. And my male friends tell me that when they are funny, my male friends, but when they go out, they tend to sort of tell set jokes, and women never do that. When we're out together, our humour is confessional, cathartic, self-deprecating, incredibly funny, but so candid. And that's how we bond, and that's how we let off steam, and that's how we build bridges with each other. And that's your lifeline.
I can't, if someone's not an oversharer, I find it very hard to bond with them, because I will sit down and reveal my life story. And it's very hard if someone doesn't, not that I'm saying everyone has to tell their life story in a way that my ADHD brain does, but it is oversharing. Like it's
joyous.
It is joyous.
And when you say, do I get tired on the road? Because I do work hard. But I meet my women readers and they're fabulous. They bring me up little anecdotal doggy bags they've saved up for me. And they'll say, you won't believe what my husband said in bed the other night. Thought you'd like this. Or you won't believe the position he tried. Or you won't believe whatever it was. So what my boss said at work. And they give them to me as little presents, and every time I'm on a book signing, I sign for hours after each gig. I want to go on a big girls' night out with all of them. They're wonderful. Australian women are the world's best kept secret. Funny, feisty, fiercely loyal, just fabulous. You can trust them. They're absolutely trustworthy. If I tell an English woman friend something, I'm never quite sure that she won't tell her spouse. But if you tell an Australian woman it's a secret, it's a secret. And look, as an example of our camaraderie, in our vernacular, two women who slept with the same man are called stick sisters. It's like, oh, you slept with him too. Wasn't he terrible? So there's camaraderie rather than rivalry, which I think is incredible. I've never found that anywhere else in the world. So, yeah, we've got a lot to rejoice.
I also think it's interesting you mentioned a woman not telling her spouse, because I always feel a little bit betrayed if I know that a girlfriend has been discussing my private life with their spouse, because I'm not telling them so that they'll discuss it. That's a point of conversation with their spouse.
That's one of the big sisterhood rules, is to keep each other's secrets. That's understood.
Your son, I can't understand what it's like to parent an autistic son, because I don't think that's something you can understand unless you've lived it and it's your lived experience. What do you wish more people understood about autism? And I know there's a whole spectrum of what neurodiversity looks like.
Yeah.
But throughout your life as a mother to your beautiful son, what do you wish more people understood about autism?
I wish more people would think outside the neurotypical box, because normal's just a setting on a washing machine, and a label's something on the side of a jam jar. And we know that, for anyone listening who has a child who's neurodiverse, especially if they're autistic, they have a literal, lateral, tangential logic, which is truly original. I don't think there's any such thing as normal and abnormal. I think there's ordinary and extraordinary. And people on the spectrum have just a brilliantly unique way of looking at life. So lean into it. Don't try and change them. Let them be their best autistic selves. And my only advice would be build up their self-esteem, because all day they're told they're wrong, they're stupid, they're out of sync. I would also say feed their obsessions, because they're very obsessional people. We now know that all those kind of scientists who studied one moth wing fluctuation for 35 years in the Amazon were probably on the spectrum, right? So it doesn't matter what their obsession is, if it's igneous rocks or, I don't know, Tibetan nose fluting, whatever it is, indulge it, because you never know where it will take them. So, and the hard thing that's really hard is the social, you can feel socially ostracized. When my son was little, I'd take him to play in the park. I used to call the sandbox the quick sandbox, because he'd just do one thing that was slightly quirky and other mothers would pull their kids away as though autism was contagious. Be compassionate to other mothers. Just look at the bigger picture. And to employers, I would say also, employ them. Less than 15% of autistic people in the workforce, which is a much lower inclusion rate than other disabilities. And yet we know with the right help they could give back to society in the most amazing ways. Van Gogh, Orwell, Steve Jobs, Mozart, all these incredible geniuses, Einstein, they were all on the autistic spectrum.
They were.
So you've got to be prepared that they have no filter and they'll say what they're thinking. But I don't mind that. I think in a world where everybody lies to you, Trump lies on a daily basis, Fox News lies on a daily basis, people lie all the time. To have someone tell you the truth, I thought about putting Jules in a truth booth where people pay money to come in and be told, does my bum look big in this? Well, yes, it does.
I love that
I know
idea.
the truth. I know. I could make money out of him. But it can be embarrassing. Sometimes because of the lack of filter, sometimes I sweat more than King Charles reading the Epstein files, because I never know what he's going to say. And when he was about 12 or 13, I think, I took him to Downing Street to meet the then Prime Minister. And I said, oh, Jules, this was a charity event of some kind. I said, oh, Jules, this is the Prime Minister, Tony Blair. And Jules just looked at him and said, oh, yes, you're the one my mother calls Tony blah, blah, blah. And I'm going, The mouth from the south. I couldn't think of anything to say. I was just mortified. And he does that kind of thing a lot. And I remember Hugh Jackman came for dinner once before he was famous in London. He was starring in Oklahoma and he hadn't hit the big time yet. Anyway, he came over for dinner and I was flirting for Australia, right? In my mind, we'd already eloped and were living in the Caribbean.
You're definitely married.
And then Jules came home. He was about 13, I guess, or 14 or something. And he walked in and I jumped up and hugged him and said, "Oh, Jules, oh, darling, lovely to see you." I said, "Oh, you're growing a moustache." He said, "So are you, Mum. Look at all those hairs on your top lip. There's quite a few on your chin as well." And it was like a contraceptive arriving on a platter, So you just never know what's going to be said. And I have he gives everyone an animal totem. And my animal, Jen Robinson, our good friend, is a lorikeet. I'm a dolphin. But one night I had all these people around for dinner, prime ministers, poets, pop stars, whatever. And Jules was like, "Mum's totem is the dolphin." He said, "Mum, do men just love your blowhole?" I'm like, yeah, once again, I just don't know what to say.
Tell me about the joy that writing gives you. Does it it must just fill your cup. How does it feel when you get a published book in your hands?
Well, I only write for revenge, as I said. I like to impale an enemy on the end of my pen, like a shish kebab. Some writers say, "Where do you get your inspiration?" They go, "Oh, the muse descends from the heavens." I'm like, "No, revenge." Like
that year in Paris that I spent.
No, just get them back. So even Puberty Blues. I mean, I was really getting revenge on those surfy boys who kept fit by doing step aerobics off their own egos.
You couldn't go back to Cronulla for a while, which I didn't. I didn't know that.
That's absolutely true. I used to get sort of post-traumatic stress syndrome because the men were so brutal. Their terms for sex were rooting, tabbing, stabbing, plugging, poking, and meat injecting. It's not exactly a Shakespearean love sonnet, is it?
It's not.
And they were so vain. I mean, this main boyfriend I had was called Bruce, and when he came, he called out his own name. So
Stop.
That should have been a sign.
Bruce, and his name was Bruce.
Yes.
So he called out.
Bruce. Like, and I'm sure a lot of women will relate to that. They were very macho, but I got them back.
Now, Kathy, to finish, I'm going to go into some quick fire questions.
Uh-oh.
Okay, so what is the biggest argument you've ever had in your career?
When I was told not to write about older women because they're not sexy and they're not interesting. That was a major battle. My publisher dropped me because they said nobody's interested in those types of women. So that was shocking, but typical of the ageist sexism women endure. I mean, I think my generation's fought we've destigmatized the menopause. The next big battle for women is ageist sexism. So, yeah, I would say that's a big battle. Although it was hard to get Puberty Blues published. I sent that to 10 publishers and they rejected it.
10 publishers?
And then I read an article that Anne Summers wrote in the paper about gang rape in Queensland or something. I thought, she'll understand about this brutality of these surfy tribes. And she sent it to a feminist publishing house, McPhee-Grable, who published it. I'm not answering this very succinctly, am I?
Your career, there would definitely be a few arguments because I feel like you stand up for what you believe in, and the fact that your publisher dropped you.
I know. Isn't that shocking? But then to get the book to go number one, I mean, that was just sweet. Sweet
Such
as.
revenge. That is the Pretty Woman moment.
And I sent all the good reviews to the old publisher. I know. I did a little. I must admit, I did have a little light gloating at that point. Why not?
What is your most outrageous example of misogyny?
Well, so many. But another reason for women to be a bit more positive, things have got better in some ways. Because thinking back to when I first started working in Australia, I went for an interview to work on television. I already had a book out and a column in the paper. This was my job interview. 5 men in suits sitting opposite me. At a major television station in Sydney. One of them slapped $10 on the table and said, "I bet I can make your tits move without touching them." And I went, "Yeah, okay, whatever." He leaned over, mauled my breasts, and they said, "Ha ha, you won, there's the $10. So I said, "I bet you $20 I can make your balls move without touching them," and kicked him between the legs.
God.
Got the job.
Oh, my God.
But today you'd have a sexual harassment suit,
You
but we
would.
didn't have anything like that. There was no HR. There was nobody to complain to. So every day I'd go to work, I'd steel myself before I went in, like putting on a bulletproof bra. The men would rate you by your rootability in front of you. They'd say, oh, you're not looking that hot today. Oh, I'll give you about a 3. Like, so I learned to dish it back to them. I would just flip it back to them, and just go for them.
And you've got to. I have a great relationship with my brother. He's wonderful, but he used to wind me up as a kid. And then can't remember what age, but I learned wit. And so now I win every time. I fire back at him.
Yeah, and you fire it back at misogynists. That's what I say to girls when you're going out. You've got to have a couple of one-liners ready to take them down. It's part of our, as we said earlier, part of our armory. So yeah, and it taught me to be a barroom brawler.
What pisses Kathy Lette off right now?
Well, the big orange blob, obviously. The macho
Pissing
strutting,
a lot of people off.
The missile envy. There's these old stale male pale blokes who are ruining the world. So I try and blow raspberries at them every day. I think if you can comically kneecap, I will comically kneecap the patriarchy until we have equal pay. So I think, until then, they deserve it.
Your Instagram account gives me, and Nikki, my boss, we often talk, we're like, oh, thank God for your Instagram account, because you could wake up and cry at the state of the world. Yeah. But, yeah, I think the humour that you give us through your social channels, it's very uplifting.
Well, we know, too, that the one thing Trump and co hate is to be laughed at. But another thing that's pissing me off, we need men to join us at the barricades, because we're not going to get equal pay until men say, that's not on. Even my gay male friends, I keep saying, I went on your marches. I got you, same-sex marriage. You never come on our feminist marches, ever. So I think men need to step up now. Join us at the barricades.
What has been your best day ever?
I'm not talking about family stuff, because kids,
absolutely.
But I think it was the day I became writer in residence at the Savoy Hotel in London. Can you imagine? They gave me a suite on the river for free for like 6 months. And the only thing I wrote were checks for more champagne. I've got my own drink on the menu there called Kathy Cassis. We put a lot of research into that.
Oh my God, yum.
And I've got my own dish on the menu called, it's a Kathy Lette omelette because of omelette. And it's a lobster omelette because the chef said you've got great legs. So I'm going to have the lobster legs.
You do have great legs.
It's all I've got.
Great legs. It is not all you've got there.
So that was a highlight, I must say, being writer in residence, because they wanted to reconnect. They wanted to rekindle their literary links. A lot of famous writers had lived there: Oscar Wilde, Somerset Maugham, Noel Coward, Mark Twain, Kathy Lette. Natural segue, obviously. So that was great. Yeah.
Do those moments sink in for you? Because, how mind-blowingly incredible. Does it sink in?
Yeah, and you have to enjoy every moment like that, because joy builds resilience. And we've never needed to be more resilient than we do right now, especially women, because of the rollback of our rights. So when you are out partying with girlfriends and laughing and dancing on a tabletop, yes, you're having fun, but you are building resilience. You need those moments before you can go back into the battlefield. So don't feel guilty. Don't let your guilt gland throb for having girlfriend fun.
Last question. The name of this podcast is You're Going to Want to Hear This. What is one message you want our listeners to hear?
Don't wait to be rescued by a knight in shining Armani. Stand on your own 2 stilettos and go forth and be fabulous.
That is great advice.
Great.
I love it.
Well, you are going forth and being fabulous with a beautiful beta male.
I know. I love this term. He's a total beta male. Yeah. It's wonderful. It really is.
Yeah, that's why you look so great.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much, Kathy.
Oh,
loved
it was so nice. We could talk forever.
I could actually.
I want to talk. I want to go on a girls' night out with all of our readers. We should have a swing off a chandelier night.
I'd love that.
When I come back at Christmas.
Dancing on tables. Let's do it. International Women's Day next year.
Oh, big girls' night out. Let's do it.
That would be very fun. That would be very fun, actually.
I'm there.
Kathy Lette, funny, fearless, and as sharp as ever. What I really love about this conversation is that beneath the humour, and there is certainly so much of that, there's a very clear message. And that is that women's lives are complex, evolving, and far from finished. That ageing is not something to fear, but something to grow into. And that friendship can be as profound as love, and sometimes more enduring. Also that even in a world that feels so heavy, uncertain, and exhausting, joy is something that we have to actively choose. Kathy's work has always made women feel seen, but also importantly, made us laugh at the things that might otherwise feel too hard to say. And perhaps that's her greatest power. If you enjoy this episode, make sure you follow, rate and review, and share it with someone who might need to hear it. I'm Georgie McCourt, and this has been You're Going to Want to Hear This. This pod was recorded on Gadigal land. We pay our respects to their elders, both past and present.